Hey y'all, it's Renegayde, and it's time again to spill more Reali-Tea, because you know the RuPaul's Drag Race multiverse just cannot help themselves, and much like rabbits, it has procreated yet another season before we're even done with the last one that we're talking about. So today, we're going to take a break from all of our All-Stars 9 coverage for a moment, as we preview the next entry into Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World 2. Now, much like where we started our previous coverage, we're going to start with a deep dive into our 9 queens, and do this, I'm joined by our resident drag expertise, QuackrrJack, as we get into all the looks, laughs, and soon to be legendary moments of the season. Before we get into things tonight, though, Jack, how are you feeling knowing yet another season of Drag Race is on the horizon, and we haven't even finished the one that we're currently covering?
Well, I'm ready for some leg and dairy. I'm not sure that everyone should be classified as legendary based on their previous performances, but I love to give a girl a second chance to prove me wrong, and I love when girls really show me up, so I'm excited. I don't mind that we're starting a new season soon, and that it's going to be happening slightly overlapping the other season, because if we're being honest, the other season is already wrapping up. We kind of already know what's happening for the most part. Like, we have one or two more twists. And this is just a show that gives you like one episode a week. I don't feel like it takes too long to like really get caught up. I might be in the minority here about that, but because I love Drag Race, so I could watch forever. Like, put out season like 10 of All Stars already, girl. I'm ready. So
I was actually gonna ask, so because personally, for me, especially, I'd say maybe right around the end of the pandemic, around 2021, 2022-ish, I myself experienced some Drag Race fatigue, just because I had been binging I think this is right around the time like UK was like season 3 or so. So like this is like just when everybody had just started out with like popping out the new franchises and things like that. And I was getting to the point where I was just I was tired. I had to take a break. I don't know about you, but what are your thoughts here on the fact that the multiverse just keeps going here? And do you think it's important that, we kind of have this ability to pick what kind of brand, what kind of, content we choose here in regards to the matter? Because we could basically go to any country at this point, and they will have their own version of Drag Race.
Yeah, I think it's great because like we see a lot of different drag from different areas. Like a lot of the times people who know drag, especially like where we're from in America, like they only know American drag. Like a lot of the things we get taught, not to be like too political and crazy, but you know, we're very like Americanized here. Like we don't learn a lot about other cultures, about other um countries around the world specifically. People we even just look at like, let's say, the Canadian version sometimes, and they say and do things and we have no clue what's going on. Like I don't even remember when I was in school like really ever learning much about Canada ever, and I was like, that's weird because we're like right next to them. Like, so I feel like a lot of our views of the world, and this would include drag race and drag specifically, is like very Americanized here. So I love this opportunity that it gives us to like really open our eyes to like new types of drag and like different ways that you can express yourself while still like, yeah, I don't know, beating your face, like stomping the runway. I want to see the girls turning looks. I want to see the gags. I want to see them like showing us what they got. I might not always understand, and I have to have the subtitles on a lot, but you know what? I'm always here for a good educational moment as well as a good slay. So I'm excited. I think it's important.
Yeah, I agree too, and I feel like the one benefit we really have to having all these different franchises, and especially with these versus the world franchises, the one benefit we do get is we get exposed to queens that we may not have been able to see before. Like, if it wasn't for the riggery of UK versus World 2, we would have never known Marina Summers, Grandam. I mean, we would have known them. Obviously, they're still a thing, but they wouldn't have been as exposed to the point where it got to the point where now I'm fully watching Drag Race France. I'm definitely in the process of watching the new season, and we'll definitely have a video out on that whenever that finishes in a couple weeks here. So I will say while I was fatigued for a little bit, I've kind of actually I missed it. I realized how much I missed Drag Race in my life. It's not perfect. by any means, but it's definitely the best queer media that we have here. So we need to embrace it while we have it here. So I'd say as the global roster, continues to form, and these global all-star seasons are definitely going to be on the rise more often than not. I'd say the largest topic of controversy is just how these versus the world seasons in particular kind of operate. And we've had three examples now to learn from with Canada versus the World Season 1 and then UK versus the World Seasons 1 and 2. And in all three of those seasons, I think it's pretty clear that the showrunners are using this as a way to show off girls from the home country, pretty much to the point where it feels like a pretty foregone conclusion at this point that one of them will be guaranteed to take the crown, while the girls that are competing from the world are definitely facing an uphill battle. Now, it's not entirely impossible for them to win. Obviously, Raja O'Hara won Canada versus the World one, and it's just very clear, especially from outside sources, that Canada Drag Race season 2 winner and my personal favorite choice for my favorite international, I guess, well, I'd say non-US franchise queen of all time here, is Isis Couture. I think it's pretty obvious here she was supposed to win that season. And she said it herself. It was predestined for her to win. And had she not quit due to all the producer influence that was kind of negatively affecting her mental health, she could have had that second crown. And I mean, we can look at the fact that yes, Rita Baga was there, but I mean, it's Rita Baga. Not to be rude against Rita, she's talented, but she does not have the same fan reception as a lot of other queens. And they kind of, I feel like she got a really bad rap from season one with the fact that it kind of maybe pushed her a little bit further than she might have been deserving to go over some other favorites from that season. So I was never really expecting Rita to ever kind of win the season. So it made sense for me that it kind of came down to the next two biggest stars that they had left in the cast, which was Raja O'Hara and Silky Nutmeg Ganache. So as we go into this season, I can't help but think the producers are going to do whatever they can to ensure a Canadian takes the crown this time. Jack, what are your thoughts on the overall format of these versus the world seasons, and do you see a problematic issues that arise from the setup here?
So I think that when we look at versus the world seasons, the first thing I look at is UK1 to UK2 because we can see a difference between the first season and second season, maybe what they kind of learned to do better with, right? In UK versus the World 1, there's only 6 episodes, there's only 9 queens. In the versus the World 2, they updated the roster, they made like 2 more queens, they had 8 episodes. I think it was beneficial to update the roster and bring more queens, but at the same time, I think there was still some lacking in how some of the challenges were handled and how some of the choices, shall we say, of girls who made it to the top maybe and how that panned out maybe made sense. I don't think that it's a bad thing that they try to change up the format or they try to like figure out what they should do. I just think that there's a definite there's a definite way to learn from these things, right? Like we saw that they really try to focus on these really well-known challenges in every event. Like, we see the snatch games, we see the ball, we see the musical or the talent show. Like we see something from almost everyone's, I guess, form or their best category, if you will. But I think a problem that we have with a lot of these seasons is that we don't get really to see a lot of the girls. For example, with All Stars 9 recently, it's a non elimination season because it's a charity season. And when you bring back girls for a Worlds Clash kind of thing, we see a lot of like specifically just the English speaking countries having them. So like we see a lot of UK, we see a lot of Canadian, we see a lot of US queens, and we don't get to see a lot of the other international queens. And this is like one of their only chances to really be seen by a lot of the English speaking countries, especially like America, as that's like where it all kind of started. So I think the format is generally growing and it's getting better. It's just we're not fully there yet. like there's still a lot of things to be improved upon. And I think going back to, it's clear they really do try to focus on the queens from the season. Like we can call it what it was, but we know UK versus the World 2 definitely had a focus on Tia Coffee winning because she was a UK girl. I think a lot of people felt that on UK versus the World 1, it was very close, and I think it kind of came down to the fact that um, that blue hydrangea had shown a lot of growth, but she was also a UK queen, and so a lot of people felt like he won, and maybe Mo could have won, like Mo Hart could have actually taken the crown instead. And so I think there's a lot of production going on here in the same way that like ICE you already know this queen's the best, was clearly going to win Canada versus the World 1. I mean, it was, she came out stunning. She started stunning. She left the competition still stunning more than some of the girls left in the competition. I was gagged. You were gagged. The whole world was gagged by
We're so
the Queen of the
gagged.
North. I don't think I have anything else to say.
Okay, no, you're good. Well, one other thing I was gonna kind of say here too, kind of piggyback something that you said too. Uh, can we really call this versus the world when we're only really,
No,
at least in this competition, representing four countries, and we have,
no.
we can say that there was growth though. Last time, the last queen was from I believe Down Under, and now we have a queen from at least a non technically English speaking country in France. So growth,
Yeah.
yay! But like, yeah, no, this is not Canada versus the world. This is Toronto versus USA and Europe, basically, at this point. And it's kind of unfortunate when you do have literally, what, 13, 14, 15. I don't know how many franchises they have at this point. But I'm sure there's so many other queens that would have been wanting a spot here. I don't know who I would have replaced, maybe outside of one of maybe the U.S. queens because they've definitely had their time to shine here already to some degree. But I'm not upset that I'm releasing any of them back. But still, it's a situation where it definitely seems like we're likely gonna be moving forward towards some Canada favoritism here. But I actually I'm kind of okay with that given this cast. I'm just gonna be kind of real. I think my favorite queens are actually the Canadian queens in this cast. So, does that mean I'm gonna be completely blind to the rigor here? No. But I might not care as much, honest, because I mean, let's be real. We know what we're getting into here. Though I will kind of be real to some degree. I do think that for me, that Brooklyn Heights, Tracy Melshore, and Brad Goreski together as a judging panel maybe seem the most fair. Like I'm sure there's tons of rigor that goes on in Canada's Drag Race too, but for me at least, it feels like they seem the most fair. At least they're the most genuine. I feel like of all the judges. I don't know. I don't know your opinion on that, but that's kind of my opinion on those three. I really like them.
Um, yeah, they're pretty fair. I mean, I let me just say first of all, I haven't watched every single franchise first of all, so it's unfair for me to say that. And also, now that there are 16 franchises, including the US, so if you want to really keep it 100, it's 15 outside of the US, right? And some of those are kind of questionable because I know, for example, Holland, right, was the one that like I don't know that that one's going to come back
Nope.
or not. I think that was
He's a
like no longer in production, and I think maybe the one other one might have gotten canceled. Um, but I just think that there's so many queens, and like yes, a lot of the regions are still newer, so like maybe not everyone is ready for queens to come back from everything, but I think that there's enough queens like from more than just UK down under, uh, Canada and America's Drag Race. Like any season that has had at least 2 seasons of the show, we know that there are girls who are ready to come back to give it their all. Anything less than that, I can understand needing time. But a versus the world is a very interesting way to say everyone here is from UK, Canada, or America, and we have one girl who came from France. Yay! I know
Mhm,
another issue
mhm.
is also like speaking English, as there is sometimes that divide. And I don't want to say that everyone needs to learn how to speak English, but you know, the language barrier does create kind of an issue. So I understand how that can be problematic, if we will.
One other thing I kind of want to bring up here as well before, just while we're on the topic of criticisms, because one last criticism that I've also been hearing about this season that I do agree with to some degree is that some of these girls have now been brought back for their like what third, fourth season now. I know we have Jujubee, and I feel like that's the long running joke with Jujubee that she's been on so many seasons, and I kind of I was okay with Jujubee doing it. I'm not sure why, but now that there's like so many people that are doing it now, I feel like the novelty is kind of worn off. But I'm still I'm not upset, but I also feel like there's just other choices that could have been made for some of these queens. Do you have any issues with some of these people showing up now for 4 times now at this point?
Okay, so I feel like this is a case by case basis. It's one thing when a girl has been there like a million times and you're like, well, I feel like she really is like showing more. Like, if I go case by case basis, first queen I can think of, Lemon, technically it's her third time, but when you think about it, she was on one episode of UK versus the world, right? Like, who cares? Like, who cares that she's getting a third season, right? Like, she didn't even get to stay the whole time, right? She didn't even get to study like 2 episodes. And I'm picking back off of that, like Cheryl. Cheryl was basically in the same boat. She stayed 2 episodes instead of 1 episode, and it's really like, I mean, even if these were like only 6 episode seasons, like a 6 episode season is very different from a girl who gets like 13 episodes on the US season, right? For example, Eureka is now at her technically fourth time participating in a season. Eureka had her first season where I think it was like episode 5. She was sent away or disqualified, I guess, because she had pulled, I think she, what was it, pulled her meniscus or tore her meniscus. So she came back to the very next season to compete, and she makes it all the way to the finale. So in my way, I kind of don't really count the first season because it's kind of not fair to her, right? And in the same way, I'm like, but she did come back for an All Stars, and technically this is her fourth season. But it's a little different when you're on an All Stars versus the World season because I do feel like the format is a bit different and things are a little bit crazier on a versus the World season. I think we can all agree that the versus the World seasons are a lot more unpredictable because of how many different kinds of queens are on this show. Like, it's one thing when you go to All Stars and like there's 5 girls from the same season on there, All Stars too. But it's a totally different battle when almost no one has done a competition together, and you're like, whoa, who's gonna be lining up? On that note, though, we still have people like Kennedy Davenport. She was on her All Star season. She was on her original season. She basically makes it to the final in her original season, gets cut right at the final. She gets all the way to the final, top 2 in her All Star season, and now she's back for versus the world. I don't mind that, obviously, because it's the same situation as Eureka. I mean, technically, Eureka did get a fourth season, but it's a little like there's like a asterisk there in my mind. So I don't mind Kennedy coming back. I don't even mind when girls come back from an All Stars like Jujubee did. And speaking of, Alexis Mateo is kind of in the same boat as Jujubee. She did her season, made it to top 30. She comes back for All Stars 1, which is kind of a, I don't want to say a joke of a season, but the way the format was, it was really messy. All Stars 1 is kind of like the format that they kind of considered using for versus the world almost in a way. And I think that's what kind of makes it so different is like the lack of episodes, but the amount of queens is so much. And so any girl that comes back from All Stars 1, I almost like consider All Stars 1 is like a big it didn't happen. So she came back for a second All Stars, which essentially is like her first in my mind because All Stars 1 format was so messy. And then now she's back for technically a fourth time. I don't really mind that she's back. Now, if she comes back again, maybe I have something to say about that. Like all of these queens, like it's getting a little much. But we do have four queens, which is almost half the cast of like their first time ever being back. So I don't think it's a bad idea that all these queens are coming back, and most of them haven't competed together, so it's not going to affect too much in my mind. But it is interesting to see that they keep bringing back a lot of specific queens, and a lot of these queens are queens who made it really far in their season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I mind so much, to be honest. If Survivor has people showing up, three, four, 5 times during their first 40 seasons, or the challenge can bring back the same person on three different spin-offs in one year, then I guess I'm fine with a queen popping back with a chance to compete, a few times on different franchises over the years. It doesn't bother me that much, I guess. I've realized one thing I actually kind of have grown to enjoy, I guess, about the challenge is seeing where people kind of started and like the growth they have that develops as their story continues to be written, so I think that's something we could actually embrace a little bit more in the show. The fact that that's even a possibility, that we have the option to bring back these girls so many times, because like you remember the days when no one even remembered Drag Race, or the fact when it was filmed on Logo with the Vaseline lens, and the fact we're here now and we have 1,000 editions. We shouldn't complain. We should be happy. We should, and Rue should be able to milk, every single cent out of every last drop that's happened here for this. So,
Well, maybe
um,
give some of that money to them instead of
yeah,
just Rue, but
yeah, they could definitely spread the wealth, hopefully. So, we'll, you know, they've gotten stipends now. They've been providing them with money now for runways and whatnot. I don't know if that happened for this season. Because we haven't really heard, I don't think too much about the preseason pass as far as that goes, but um, they've been, I feel like, a lot better to the girls here. So, um, it, you know, bad, good. It depends how you look at it here. But at least we know, I think, that the queens that we're getting here are going to be entertaining. So, that's I think a good sign. Um, Now, one last thing I want to get into before we get into our official cast of Canada's Drag Race versus the World 2, we have an interesting spin on the format this season in that our Golden Beaver from Canada's Drag Race Season 4 will be making a return this season. Which, if you did not immediately see its initial introduction, again, please stop the video, go binge season 4 immediately. So good. Um, and actually, I mean, I'll wait right here until you're done. Okay, thank you. Anyway, how the Golden Beaver essentially works is there will always be a bottom three queens for each challenge, and then the winner of the challenge will be given the Golden Beaver to save one of those bottom threes from elimination. The two who are not saved will lip sync for their life, which, oh my god, what an exciting realization at this point that we're finally getting lip syncs for their lives on an all star season for the first time since like season one. Unless you count like the comeback twist from season six, but um, I'm actually a big fan of this twist. I think it's something new we haven't seen at this point, at least for All Stars. I'm willing to try it out. At least it's not a heavy handed for the queens, so at least they're not just outrighting eliminating someone. They're able to, maybe use their friendships to save somebody. Because I think saving somebody versus eliminating somebody is always a better excuse, kind of thing. Plus, they still have the chance to lip sync for their life at the end of their day to save themselves. So, you know, hopefully we'll see some good lip syncs since there'll be more at stake here. Looking at you, All Stars 9. Sorry.
ooh,
um.
call her out.
Anyway, Jack, what are your thoughts here on the Golden Beaver?
Oh, the Golden Beaver. Oh, get that beaver away from my face.
Madame Jack LaQueer.
Madam LaQueer, how the world will have forgotten you unfortunately.
All Stars 11, here she comes.
I don't even know if she does. I assume she still does drag, but I don't know. I don't
I
know.
think she does. I think I remember seeing in somebody's drag update video. I think she still does drag.
Well, that
Random
I,
side.
I would enjoy to see it then. I also want Mystique Summers Madison back since we're talking about girls. I just want to keep that up.
Can we get
Um,
LaShawn Beyond back too? Random. Okay, sorry.
oh, LaShawn Beyond, I would love that. I didn't think she did drag anymore.
I think she
That,
just kind of started up again.
oh, did she? Okay, well, I'm here for it. Okay, so back on topic. This is interesting, right? Because now you can save yourself. And if the format is what we think it is of top girl saves one of the bottom three queens, they're essentially putting two people into the bottom two. And it's not necessarily that you're getting away with it like without any drama, but you do get the chance to save someone, which is better than outright like deciding you're eliminated because you're giving the girls at least a chance. But I mean, let's look at it like this. We've got two queens from the UK. We've got one queen from France. We've got what, three queens from Canada and three queens from the US. So we might see those kind of alliances come through potentially, which that's a really problematic thing in this kind of idea is like if we have these like country alliances going on, then it's gonna really suck to be one of the girls who happens to like fall outside. You know, maybe we see the first episode like if a Canadian girl wins the first episode and we see a girl from the US, let's say La Kahena from France and a girl from the UK in the bottom, do they choose to put the UK girl in the bottom against UK queen just to like lower an alliance kind of thing? Is that a possibility? Even if like let's say the queen like La Kahena, since she's the only one from France, like let's say she gets saved, even if we all agree she should have been bottom two no matter what. Like maybe they save her just for a strategy reason of like lowering someone else's alliance. So like the Beaver brings a really unique twist, but it's also kind of nerve wracking because I don't want to see a season where people just skate by forever. Gothic and all, because people care about their alliances and whatnot.
You're not Gothy Kendall there. Um,
I mean, did I lie?
no, I mean you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Who knows? We could definitely possibly see that happen here. That's definitely the another criticism in this. But if I mean if it's really Toronto versus North America versus Europe, then maybe hopefully the Europe girls will stay together. No, I doubt it. Actually, I Lagana probably has the biggest uphill battle here. But we could get into that when we actually talk about the girls and their chances here, because actually, that's. Oh, just kidding. Look, we're getting into that right now here. So initially, when we were gonna introduce our cast here, I was gonna go alphabetical order. But based off of all of our conversations today, I actually want to discuss these queens in the order of their likelihood of winning the season. Now, as you've kind of guessed here, obviously, from my point of view, our underdogs are obviously going to be people from the countries that are least represented here. Um, so, starting out with our European queens, we'll go there first, because they're clearly at their greatest disadvantage here, just kind of being an unknown source here. Then we'll get into our American queens, who have a better advantage for already having their well-built, established fan bases. Then we'll finally finish off with our home country queens, who the producers are going to want to take the crown and keep it in Canada. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about our first queen. Queen not many people may be familiar with unless they have a Well Presents Plus membership. It's La Kahena, 10th place from Drag Race France Season 1, which wouldn't be that bad if there weren't just 10 queens that season, but she's representing Paris, France by way of Tunisia. If you've never seen Drag Race France, let me give you a quick rundown on La Kahena and her Meet Queens video. She said she's best known for her workroom entrance where she lit herself on fire, which was cool, but to be fair, I'd argue she's best known for being France's pork chop since she really wasn't able to show too much else during her one episode on the show. Unfortunately, she had one of the most confusing talent show numbers I've ever seen, where she attempted a comedy number about like her metamorphosis from. I'm actually still not really sure. I think she started off as like a drunk whore that is also a wall that turns into the next drag superstar, but is also still an idiot. I don't. The set literally consists of her being attached to a shirt that's stuck in a wall with some Party City fire decorations running, and then she comes out and setting herself on fire again, like she did in her workroom entrance, and then kind of just proceeds to walk around the stage to a voiceover that lasts far too long. It's confusing, not just because of the language difference, but because like even the French girls didn't get it, but again, it lasts far too long without any sort of payoff. She also loses her lip sync against the queen, who takes her shoes off in the first few seconds of lip sync, which is a cardinal sin unless you're Mon LePage. But Lockie lip sync is just not that great, and she's still eliminated first. But well, all I've said up to this point is kind of negative. There is still somewhat of a silver lining here because she is a complete wild card. Honestly, she can kind of accomplish anything here this season. I'm also a little worried though, because like, does she even feel like she has a chance here? I'm like saying, does she feel she has a chance here? Because her Meet the Queens video seemed like she was just kind of here to have fun and enjoy the experience. Like it didn't feel like for me she was selling herself in any sort of way. Showed that she has confidence. Like I know she was joking when she said that she's just there to eat poutine and meet Ryan Gosling, and she also describes her drag as stupid, and and she's hoping that she can prove that she could lip sync here. So that's basically her goals. Like these are not the goals of someone who's coming here to win, in my opinion. It's giving kind of like you said, very kind of gothy Ken doll energy. But I also feel like Kahena could actually possibly become the drag race equivalent of Francesca Hoagie from Survivor, since she's giving me so much first boot energy here. Like it just feels like they literally brought her here to go home first. Um,
Yeah.
I it like I would go over what I think her strengths and weaknesses are, but again, she only lasted one episode, so I'm gonna go with to be decided. And as far as her promo look goes, I don't like it. It leaves me with a lot of questions. It's just all very confusing. I do like some of the color palettes that she decided to go with like that the rich orchid purple there and the mint greenish. But outside of that, I really kind of hate everything about this look. The hair, it's giving me like something about Mary. I don't know, like I don't know how like the top part sits up like that. I hate the breast portion of it where she has like the lighter lavender infused into the outfit. It's just I don't like that lighter shade in it. It just kind of takes me out. I wish she just would have stuck to the two tones for it. I think it would have looked a lot better. Um, like it, her nails are already a bunch of different colors, and so is her hair, which I hate that too. That she has the colors of her nails in the back of her hair too. I just don't really like it. Um, I I don't know if this is a great sign for Lockahan's chances here. I don't want to be a pessimistic bitch, but she could surprise us. I'm a little worried here. Um, Jack, what are your thoughts here on Lockahana?
You know what? 0% chance. Not even a chance in hell. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude to her, and it's nothing against her personally. It's just, we've talked about it. This is Canada versus the world. Versus the world season, we've seen that they really try to hype up the queens from their season. I don't think we've ever really seen. Okay, and UK versus the world, we saw quite a few queens from quite a few different countries end up in the top four. But when you really break it down, the final two ended up being two queens from English as their primary language kind of countries. Even if we all kind of felt differently about how some of the challenges were judged, just going off of what we see from Lakahana, she doesn't have a great track record. So she made a mistake in the talent show performance on her season, right? That can be, you know, understood. That can be easily forgotten and forgiven. But then she lost her lip sync. And I think it went to show that maybe either she wasn't ready or she wasn't aware of how she's presenting herself in her performances. It has been a few years. She may have changed, but this drag race outfit that she's gone for the promo look is so cheap looking. I can't look at a single part of this and find anything really nice to say outside of I kind of like the colors she picked for the green and the purple. But I think part of that is because I'm a 90s child, and that's um yeah, you know what? Let's just get into it. The studs underwear are probably the best feature of this because it makes it more cohesive. The belt is terrible. It doesn't it I mean it cinches her, but her shape is bad. She looks all pointy and fluffy in different areas. The the breast bra kind of area of her top is uneven and completely like as if this was like a make a dress in 20 minutes competition. Like this is the equivalent of like quick drag in the workroom for a mini challenge kind of look.
Not
Where
quick.
I'm just like, girl, I mean, come on. Some of the girls in quick drag have better outfits, right? Like, be so real. I've even seen girls with better makeup in the quick drag than what she has here, and she had time to do this. Now, to be fair to her, France has a very different drag scene than we do, right? Like they have different there's cultural differences, that's what I'm trying to say, in drag. And I guess because everyone kind of knows Le Grand Dame, who was on the same season as La Kahena, we kind of have this high expectation, right? But it's not fair for us to necessarily compare them to each other. But even if I take that out, the nails are bad, the hair is bad, the outfit is bad. There's
It's
not
giving
much to
bad.
say. It's bad overall. It's one of the worst ones. I don't know if it's the worst one, but it is definitely one of the worst ones. I kind of think I'm gonna have to say it is the worst one. I have some feelings about a few other ones, but I still think the construction on this is kind of unacceptable.
Yeah, I think
So
this is
it
my
probably
least
is the
favorite
worst.
too. I agree. I hope, like I said, I hope for the best. She's probably made like the longest trip over here, so let's hope that she's able to get a couple episodes out of this. But like I said, if she doesn't end up as Francesca Hogi here, I would not be surprised at all whatsoever. Let's get to our next queen here that we have in our order of likelihood to win, least in my opinion. And let's get your POV, Jack, on the BBC Queen. And of course, we mean the British born Chinese androgynous Asian sensation herself, LaPhil, 7th place in Drag Race UK Season 4. She's representing Brighouse UK as well as her Chinese ground. Now, this is her second time on a Drag Race franchise, and she considers her claim to fame her hot couture looks and concepts that are, as she says, all about gender bending with all the goddess stuff in between. And honestly, I think LaPhil is actually more known for how mistreated she was during her initial run on UK4, where it was clearly very obvious that she was undervalued by everyone on production. LaPhil was severely underedited to the point where she literally had no storyline until episode 4, where she was the leader of the girl group and sorry, until episode 4, even though she was the leader of the girl group in episode 2 that went on to win the challenge. So it's like, how are they not giving this girl any content when she choreographed this entire number for this then, and they ended up winning? Whatever. Now, granted, in episode 4, her performance in episode four's acting challenge, it was not great. That was not good. So she was justified for her bottom 3 performance there. But the truest crime imaginable was their decision to place LaPhil in the bottom 3 for her performance in the Rusical, despite having one of the hardest parts of the Rusical, to which she really executed flawlessly, to my opinion. They create this narrative around LaPhil that she needs to use the creativity that she has in her outfits and apply that to everything that she does, including acting challenges. Otherwise, she will be overshadowed. And what happens? Eventually, she is overshadowed during Snatch Game, where her justifiably bad Marie Kondo impression lands her in the bottom 2. Although I don't think it should have been against the person she was against. I think it should have been Pixie Polite, but that's just me, and maybe a lot of other people. I don't know. And sadly, she was sent home against Black Peppa. Well, this season, LaFille says her strategy is to be nice and PC because she's quiet, and she's secretly listening and judging. And I know how that feels. I definitely secretly listen and judge all the time too. But to be fair, I think this quietness that she has is the exact reason why LaFille was cast here, and also the same reason why I sadly think that she's gonna end up as filler queen once again, despite her being much more talented than a filler queen should be. It's just I just for whatever reason I don't think production is going to value her again this time around either. I don't think they've learned their lesson. And with such heavy hitters in this cast, and she's also not one of the hometown representatives here. I just have to wonder why first off she wasn't picked for UK versus the World 2 over someone like Theresa May or John vs Blonde, especially John vs Blonde. But I just get the feeling she's gonna see the continuation of her narrative from UK4, especially with this small cast. So while I really hope things end up differently, I'm just not sure I have much faith that they will for LaFille. And also, in the promo category at this point, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this look. Like, to be fair, I don't know if I'm a big fan of any of these look. This promo, questionable, questionable. Like, great idea in theory, but questionable in execution. I don't hate it. It's giving me 80s wrestler, as the brief implies, so good job on that. I do like the orange and pink. It's giving me 80s, the big ass hair. I love that. Her makeup's beat. I don't like the middle portion of it. Like, I get that she does the gender bender thing, and that's her thing, but I don't know if I'm a fan of the nipples. Or maybe it's just the sheerness, and that just being the only part of the whole outfit being sheer, and the rest of it's not. Like, it just doesn't seem cohesive. I don't know. Um, I get it's a small garment, but there's also somehow a lot going on as well too. It feels like it needed to be edited a little bit for me. I don't know. I'm not really feeling this particular look, but I'm excited to have LaFille here, and hopefully she'll get a chance to show some looks this season. What are your thoughts here on LaFille and the fact that we have her at eighth place out of the nine queens that are available here?
Um, so personally, I see LaFille has a great chance of getting to the finals, in my opinion, because I think that, as we mentioned before, Brooklyn has a very different style of judging than RuPaul does, and I'm hoping that that works in LaFille's favor, and might be a reason as to why LaFille maybe wanted to do a Canada versus the world rather than UK versus the world, because I mean, she is very underrepresented in the UK franchise. She first of all, she doesn't have a bad look. Like she really doesn't have bad looks on her season. If you go back, like she killed the runway. Like we were gagging, we were gobsmacked. We were like, "Yes, LaFille, you look so great." I loved her personality. I really enjoyed her. I even like this look actually. I love the orange and pink. It gives me the 80s um like wrestler vibe. And honestly, if we're being real, wrestling has almost never been a good category for the drag queens on a drag race season. Now, if you want to bring up Dragula, that's a much better place for it because something here never really clicks for me and like what the I guess what like the production is going for because if you remember Canada versus the World season 1 had disco as their theme and that was a much better category in my opinion. Um this like versus the world stepping into the ring thing, sure, whatever, fine. I like this one. This is one of my favorite looks of all of the drag queens from this promo. It's I guess the only issue I'm having is maybe the headpiece with the long tasseled earrings. Don't get me wrong, I love the fringe continuation like this, but it's that pop of the dark bluish color that I don't think it clashes or anything. It's kind of confusing because I didn't really see it anywhere else on her outfit. It might be just be the picture I was looking at, but it's like those dots in there. I was like, what is this here for? Is it just to keep her hair out of her face or to cover up like maybe it's not blended as well, which is like this is a really good way to do that. Like this, there's a really good ways to cover if your blending wasn't good, or if you need to like flex your um, breastplate in there. Cover it up, ladies. Come on. Some of the girls needed to learn that a lot. But I like LaFell. She's one of my faves. I think she has a better chance than her UK sister, who's on this season as well. The only reason I see her sister going further than her possibly is just for storyline reasons and production value of the fact that her other sister is coming back from a versus the world season, and from someone who did a season 1 versus the world to come back for a season 2 versus the world, it's a pretty big deal. um I mean, and especially to change who's going to be judging you, that could be a really great, like, that could really work in your favor here. Also, I think LaPhil has decent chances of winning lip syncs. So even if she finds herself in the bottom or stumble here or there, I think she has a decent chance of saving herself. And I think the queens are going to enjoy her presence on this season. So I give LaPhil probably like fifth or fourth place, maybe tied for third, fourth place. But I could definitely see her making it at least most of the season.
Well, let's hope
And
that she does better than I'm expecting her to do here. That I like your optimism here, and I would love for LaPhil to get a chance to prove herself. She definitely needs it. I think she needs it, especially after her mistreatment on her original season. And something you brought up actually here as well too, that now that I just popped into it just as a brief side, are we gonna see Juju be on Canada versus the World 3 now? Because now she has a chance of going on that. Different franchise, technically. Different franchise. We could see it. Um,
maybe.
anyway, let's get into her UK sister here. That is apparently, according to her, the past, present, and future of British drag. It's Cheryl, now without the hole. Our fourth place uh, finisher from Drag Race UK 1 and eighth place in UK versus the World 1 as well. She's representing Chelmsford, UK by way of Essex, and she stands out because of her dry humor and, in her words, being a silly tit in a wig and a glamorous fashionista. I don't know if I agree with the last part, with the glamorous part here, Cheryl. I'll be honest here. I don't know if I get that from your looks here, Kerr. I don't know if I've ever got that from your looks, her. But I still love Cheryl as far as charisma goes. Cheryl has it. She has got to have one of the most hilarious track records, I think, in the history of the show, since she literally spent pretty much the entirety of her run just kind of based off of her charisma and personality in a lot of ways. She literally spent the first 3 weeks in a row on her first run in the bottom three, but being saved from lip syncing since two others always did worse. So Cheryl would end up being safe the next couple of weeks, but as the numbers drop, there eventually kind of be no place for her to hide here. She would end up going on to bottom 2 weeks in a row, starting in Final Five's water advertisement challenge, and eventually being eliminated in the final four makeover challenge against Bag of Chips. Cheryl would also not fare too much better during her time in UK versus World 1. After placing safe in the Premier's talent show, she would immediately be thrown in the bottom two against Jujubee in the RuPaul's Ball, where Janie Jacquet would eliminate her in episode 2. But she's been on two of these seasons without any sort of challenge wins, and Cheryl thinks this is actually an advantage for her. Because no one's going to, take her seriously, really. They're all going to underestimate her. No one will look at her as a target, which I can see happening. I don't think anybody will probably think Cheryl is a target. And I'll be honest too, her look in the promo definitely leaves me underestimating her as well too. I don't like this bodysuit. I'll be real. This is my second least favorite look. I do love her makeup and how she incorporated colors of her bodysuit into the makeup, but I don't know. The look is just kind of basic. Like it looks like for me, like she was given the call like 2 days before of what the look was, and she's like, "Oh, well, I have this in my closet, so let me just use this." Eh, but unlike what you said about thinking LaPhil has the best chances, I actually think Cheryl will have the best chances. Kind of like what you said here too, just kind of just based on the fact that she is so charismatic, and I feel like people are just going to like her, and she is kind of it's in some ways an OG figure in a lot of ways. So I feel like if they're going just based off of like a first impressions type deal situation, I feel like they'll always look at her maybe like one tier higher than LaFille, even though it's clear. I think it's maybe the other way around. Um, I even if again she's not necessarily my favorite, she's always gonna have that Alyssa Edwards upside factor to her. I think that still makes you want to root for her. Um, that's kind of where I think Cheryl is. I don't think Cheryl's gonna win, but I do think Cheryl has a good chance of going deep this season and hopefully getting that challenge win that she's looking for. But won't lie, it would be kind of hilarious if she goes on 3 seasons and does not win one challenge at all whatsoever. Jack, what are your thoughts on Cheryl?
So let me start with the outfit. It's kind of basic, but it's not terrible, right? Like it's not awful. It doesn't make me want to like stab my eyes out or anything like that, right? There's not much I can critique here on like other than just it being kind of a basic bodysuit. But I feel like with this category, if I'm being 100% honest, I wouldn't have done the most, like I would have made a nice outfit. I wouldn't have put too much thought into this category per se. My promo look doesn't exactly represent like what I am going to bring on this season, but I would have probably put in more effort than this. I do like the big hair though. I think that's a great like I love the girls doing the big hair, for the kind of inspiration. Cheryl's kind of known for this color too, so she's still representing her brand. Like she's still the Essex girl. She's never been someone who comes up with the greatest outfits ever. It's very on brand for Cheryl. Her makeup looks great. Her nails look good. There's very little detail or anything to talk about here. She looks fine. Um, my problem is a lot of these queens, at least from the UK season that we've seen them on, um, or we've seen them on like the seasons of versus the world. Even if I include Cheryl and Lemon from being on there, a lot of them when they do have done their voting in the past, they have chosen to get rid of the queen that they consider to be weaker in the challenges, and so with Alexis Mateo, Kennedy Davenport, and Eureka all kind of choosing always the queen, like the fairness of like, I'm going to choose the queen who did worse in the challenge. I feel like Cheryl could end up in the bottom a few too many times, and they go off the track record, and she goes home kind of early again, unfortunately. I think LaFille has more to offer than Cheryl. And I think when you come to an All Star season, this is kind of what I mean. Like, when you come to an All Star season, I believe that you need to show that you have grown, your drag has evolved, that you as a person have gotten better. Very few instances have girls been on their original season, gotten like done extremely well, and gotten cut before a finale, and then like didn't have any more growth to do. You know what I'm saying? So with Cheryl, there's a lot of room for growth, and I'm not sure from this promo look, especially if I've seen any. We'll have to see on the show, but I could see an issue with the fact if she ends up just kind of placing in the middle overall a lot of the times, she'll eventually run out of a place to hide and be in the bottom two again and just cut.
Yeah, like I mean, we could see more of the same here. It's entirely possible. Um, I wouldn't put it past it happening. I mean, it happened on kind of on UK versus the World One, so we'll
Yeah.
see if Cheryl has had some time to really truly grow and make this season her own. So, um, but that's it for our queens from the non-North American countries, and let's wish them all the best of luck again because they're clearly going to need it, being our underdogs this season. Let's go ahead and swap continents now. Let's go ahead and head over to North America and take a look at our first U.S. queen, starting out with our dancing diva of Texas. Or, no, wait, now it's the world. It's Kennedy Davenport, fourth place in season 7, and the controversial runner up of All Stars 7. Sorry, All Stars 3. Where is it All Stars 7? The fuck?
I
He's
mean,
representing. Well, they did the Davenport roast on All Stars 7, so okay, whatever. Connecting that. There you go. It was meant to be. Um, Obviously, Kennedy is representing Dallas, Texas. This diva has been in the business for 28 years. That's longer than you've been alive, Jack. That's insane. And she
Wow.
wants to show all of her growth, compassion, and fierceness since the last time she was on the show, those 5, 6 years ago. Um, Crazy it's been that long since All Stars 3, by the way. Insane. Now, obviously, Miss Davenport has had quite the history on the show, especially in her debut, where she was part of the bitter old lady brigade that caught a lot of backlash for their treatment of the younger queens this season. Now, despite having a great track record, winning episode four's singing spoof challenge and having the first male-inspired Snatch Game character in Little Richard taking the win as well, fans would still kind of hold her attitude against her, and Kennedy never seemed to get the appreciation she deserved from her original performance, in my opinion. This would all lead to Kennedy being eliminated in fourth place during the music video challenge, just shy of making it to the finale. This led to her returning with her vengeance in All Stars 3, but once again, despite having highs like her Bitchler Improv Challenge win, Kennedy's several bottom appearances in like the Divas Rusical, Snatch Game, Girl Group Challenge, and the Acting Challenge as well too, definitely held her winning potential back. And several fans also give her runner-up position an asterisk, just due to the fact that there were several controversial eliminations this season. When you get into it, Dayla's self-elimination, the jury vote that led to Shangela not getting to the finale. Uh, Not to say Kennedy didn't is not talented, but obviously we know what to think of this final two at that point here. I'm glad Trixie at this point laughs that she was kind of gifted All Stars 3 to some degree. She wasn't, but she did she earn
Mm,
it? Uh, eh, that's for another video. Anyways, Kennedy would go on to the final lip sync, lose to Trixie, and this has all led to this moment here. I feel like for Kennedy, for me, this is a real chance for her to prove herself. And I hate that this is now her third time here and she has to prove herself kind of again. But every single time that she's been on the show, there's been something that's kind of held her back from, I feel like, getting her full potential from the audience. And this is a chance for her, hopefully free of any sort of questionable twist or situation here that will cause fans to question her talents. Let's hope that doesn't happen here. Because, I mean, even if that happens here, if she makes a third deep run into the competition, can we really question her talent? Like, at that point, it'll be her third time. I can't say it's really luck. I do think Kennedy is overall strong in a lot of different places, too. I'm not necessarily sure maybe Runway is one of those places, though, but um, to be honest, I actually I don't hate her promo look. It's kind of predictable for Kennedy, because I've always kind of considered her to be like the Queen of Rainbows and Pride, just based off of her finale looks, always being multicolored. So this meets the brief to me. Am I inspired? Not really, but it's fine. It's middle of the road for me compared to some of the others. It has some more ornate detailing with like the shoulder pads being a little bit, wonkier compared to some other ones with like the double layering and whatnot. I like the color combination in it. I enjoyed it. It's honestly middle of the road for me compared to some of the others, but again, it also kind of like to echo what Cheryl did too. This looks like something that was already in Kennedy's closet. She just brought it with her. But again, I enjoy the color combination. But it's simple and done right. So maybe my favorite promo out of the non-Canada girls, I think. And even though what I said about LaPhil, I think I had LaPhil right next to Kennedy here too. So we'll see if she has what it takes to be more than just the Mimi. We'll find out here. What are your thoughts on Kennedy Davenport's appearance for her third time, Jack?
Um, so I think Kennedy does have a lot to prove. I think you brought this up. One of the biggest things she really needs to prove, I think, is her runway. Can we get better runways from Kennedy? It's not that she hasn't had good runways, it's that she hasn't had many good runways. And actually, going to be quite honest, she's had a very many meh to oh my god, that's awful runways. And I know that art is subjective and drag is art, so therefore it is subjective. But we can't not talk about the fact that she has done some of what would be, in my opinion, the inspiration for the Golden Boot Award runways. All of her iterations of her Death Becomes Her runways, right? And her All Stars 3 entrance look runway, I guess technically not a runway, but her All Stars 3 entrance could have all justifiably given her the Golden Boot of the season easily.
Agree.
I think part of the issue that Kennedy has had in the past is that she has the nerve, she has the talent. What she's lacking is somewhat of the charisma, but a lot of uniqueness. She is unique, but it's hard to see that it come out in her drag. Kennedy has somewhat of a off-putting personality at times, which I think is what a lot of the younger generation of viewers, including myself, have had an issue kind of connecting with at times. Though we should respect her and her experience and everything in the that she's had in drag, there have been times where it feels like it has been crossed to the point where she just completely is unaccepting of a lot of the girls in the competition with her. She has written off many of the girls in the past, even girls who actually went on to go further in the competition than her. She's kind of always had this like semi, at least the way it's been edited in the show, a somewhat semi sour attitude at one point. There have been points where she just says she can't do it, or that's as creative as she is, or she's not this or that, and she doesn't give herself enough credit. She has this little bit of defeatist like thing going on with her that we saw come out in her original season, especially, and I would say wasn't fully resolved by All Stars 3. So I think she has a lot to prove and to like win back some of the fan base because she is a very talented queen and she has made it to the finale. Well, technically, one time she didn't make it to the finale, but she made it to the final episode. Come on, that's close enough, right? Like she's made it all the way through the season, in my opinion, twice. Like it's clearly not just luck based. Like she is doing things well. Could you make an could you make an argument that she could have been eliminated in All Stars 3 before Thorgy was, and she should have gone home second? Yeah, definitely, 100%. Based on track record alone, at that point, she could have. Yeah. But she wasn't, right? And that's kind of the part of the challenge. Like, it's not. It's like it's not a what it could have been. It is what it is, kind of thing. So we do have to give her credit. She ended up winning the next challenge right after that. She had a few couple good moments throughout the season. It's not like she was the front runner ever, but she has done well overall in her debut or in her runs on Drag Race. This outfit though, I like the color combos. My big thing is the gaudy lining of the jewelry. I just don't think that I think it cheapens the outfit so much. Like it looks really, really cheap when the lining is done by like two rows of jewelry. That all looks pretty cheap in my opinion, and the belt looks really cheap. Like you could have sold this to me if it was a like design challenge, sure maybe, but this is not a design challenge out of like weird materials or anything. This is the promo look, and it's very Kennedy-esque. It's just not giving much growth. I love the hair. I love the colors. I think that the tie-in on the collar of the jewelry actually is better than the seaming of the jewelry or jewels on the other parts of the outfit. But it does bring cohesion back in from the bracelet kind of. Or there's not bracelet. Maybe they're just the cuffs of the sleeves and the collar. I like those. I love her hair. Her makeup looks great. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite for sure, but it's probably middle of the pack towards the bottom a little bit. Well, it's hard to say because this cast is it's very middle. It's very middle. This the first of all, I said that the category sucked, and it did, and the outfits are questionable at best for most of them.
Yeah, agreed. Let's let's just hope that we're in for some much better looks this season. Much better runway categories.
All right.
Well, That is Miss Kennedy, and I again am wishing her all the best this season. Let's go ahead and introduce our next U.S. queen here, and if you don't know her name, you don't know anything. It's Alexis Mateo, third place from season 3, and tied for fifth and sixth place in All Stars 1 and fifth place in All Stars 5. She's representing Las Vegas, Nevada by way of Puerto Rico. Bam! Had to do that. I love that little bam. Now this is Alexis's fourth time in the competition, so she's officially our Puerto Rican jujube. But let's talk about Alexis's track record, since it's kind of all over the place here. Now we meet Alexis all the way back in 2011, where she made it all the way to the season finale, ultimately placing third after scoring three huge wins, including the Drag Race and Queen Space Acting Challenge that she shared with her twin bot Shangela, the inspirational workout video challenge, as well as her patriotic message to the overseas troops. Now, this is also the birth of her iconic pregnant Alicia Keys Snatch Game performance that earned her high praise, but it's also safe to say Alexis was a little inconsistent in her first season given that she had three bottom performances and ultimately did not get to the final two where, I mean, between the Nella and Raja, how the fuck was she going to be able to do that anyway? Now, Alexis came back for Drag Race's controversial first All Star season, being paired in Team Your Alexis with Yara Sofia. While the team scored a huge win as Shakira and Charo in RuPaul's Gaffin Challenge, which was the Snatch Game, but Make It in Pairs Challenge, we would they would actually spend most of the season low until they were finally, the final pair eliminated in fifth and sixth place. After that really weird Doncha lip sync where Yara hit the button and cut Alexis's lip sync off halfway for her to go on stage and do absolutely nothing. That but the last time we saw Alexis, thankfully they've been letting All Stars 1 queens come back. And I don't know if you've seen this here, Jack, too. We could be seeing some All Stars 2 and 3 queens being returning here again here soon, very soon. Um, but Alexis came back to compete in All Stars 5, where she was high in the variety show immediately, and she also won the improv challenge, the SheMZ challenge, which that challenge was questionable. Alexis would struggle to find a lot of success this season. Ultimately, being eliminated in fifth place after all that drama that was created by India Farah, where she basically sabotaged Alexis's chances with the whole situation with the Shea Coulee vote. But it did give us the iconic "You're a liar, and this is why Derek don't like you" voting confessional. Love that line. Now, this season, she says she is ready to bring more drama, saying that she knows how to say she don't like you in every language, which is hilarious. She's also coming for the crown as well, which I feel like storyline wise, Alexis actually has some of the best potential for a winner's arc here, since she really has a lot of unfinished business given how her two runs on US All Stars went. She's a very well respected finalist who kind of got screwed over by the partner twist in All Stars 1 and then screwed over even bigger by India Farah's lies in All Stars 5. So there's definitely a redemption arc here for Alexis that could lead to another finale. So that's definitely a huge boost to her chances here. But that really depends on where she stands with production, since they like to toss her aside right before the end game as well here too. So I could see Alexis making a deep run here to make up for what happened to her in All Stars 5, possibly getting back to the finale. I think that would definitely complete her chance or her arc here, just like I think it would kind of complete Kennedy's arc to get back to a finale and have a chance to compete again. But I kind of feel like Alexis needs to get to a top two, a top three. I don't know what they're planning on. If it's like if they're doing like they did the last one, it was a lip sync finale SmackDown. So they had what, top two. I think Alexis would even make it to at least a top two for her story to really be like complete. But I don't know if that could potentially happen. Again, like I said, it depends on where she stands with production. Will she be the favorite of the American Queens? I guess we will find out. What are your thoughts here on Alexis Mateo's chances here on her fourth time?
Honestly, not great, if I'm being honest. Like, just like with Kennedy, I don't know if she will ever win a season. I don't think it's due to lack of talent either. I don't think it's due to lack of charisma. There is a little bit maybe on the lack of uniqueness. Not that Alexis Mateo herself isn't unique. It's just her drag on the runway has been very good. A few times great, but a lot of the time very okay to good. And I think when I was reviewing her, I had to put this in there because some of her outfits made me look and then want to throw out the page. You know, like I saw some of her outfits, like I think she could take most of her things, if not the whole looks, the whole entirety of her All Stars 1 package and just burn it. She could just burn it alive. Like, you know what? She could burn it. It could be like the next Woodstock kind of thing. It was just it was almost all bad. Um but like past those things, Alexis has a great story in drag race history. Like she's one of the most respected, I would say, like Puerto Rican queens specifically. She kind of, I don't want to say she was the first, but she's kind of one of the first to, because like Nina Flowers, obviously. Let me just back up. But she is one of the first queens to, I think, be on a season with another Puerto Rican queen and bond with her sister to a point where they actually come back on All Stars 1 and compete together. And they both make it extremely far in both seasons. Considering that All Stars 1 was only 6 episodes, they made it pretty far. Um, and they both showed out like very different elements of who they were. You know, she's more pageant background. She's Vanjie's mother. A lot of people don't remember. Like, I mean, a lot of people remember that she is, but like, do we know that she's constantly booked and like blessed? Yes, we should, but I don't know if a lot of girls respect that about her. You know, she has ties in the drag world, specifically the drag race world, and she is a force to be reckoned with. Now, maybe Brooklyn's judging will benefit her this season because in her other appearances, it wasn't always favorable, even though Rue really did like her. And you and you can see the judges panel overall like really enjoyed her. There were times where some of her misses were very, very like, they're probably not going well. Ha ha ha. Like it's gonna end up with you in the bottom or close to the bottom. I mean, she's had multiple slip ups in the show, but I think this is a decent chance for her to come back and really prove herself. She has a bit to prove. I don't know if she has as much as some other girls to prove because I think she is more well received by a lot of the drag community, drag race fan community, I should say, in particular. But I'm kind of excited to see what she has to bring. Now, based on her outfit, I had a lot of issues with the green fluffy arms. I didn't really see why this was a thing. I think the fringe on her arms could have been done better, but honestly, it's the green fur. I was like, if you take that off, like that little, I think it's because it's like part of the coat, and there's some that's being covered by her hair in this look. I just think that it's like unnecessary and just makes the outfit busy. I like the green lightning bolt earrings. The headband looks a little weird, and it might just be the angle of this picture, but it looks like it's almost not the same width around, which could have been like a she cut this real quick and glittered it up real quick. And maybe it's not perfect, but it just, added to the 80s vibe. It wasn't my fave. It definitely wasn't my least fave. It's somewhere in the middle again. Um, her chances, I think, are pretty good if we consider the fact that of all the US girls, I do think she's probably the most liked. Eureka's very controversial. Some people really love her, some people really hate her. She's had a lot of controversies in the past. Kennedy has been very polarizing as well. I don't think Alexis Mateo has been that polarizing. I think she's always been at least pretty good to most people, like in terms of like where they rank her. So I think she has a decent chance to go far in this competition. And I would say she might have the best chance out of any girl in the US team, if you want to call it that. So I'm excited to see what she does. We have never really seen a great portrayal of our Puerto Rican queens overall in the history of Drag Race US at least. So hopefully we'll see something better here for her.
Agreed, agreed. I definitely wish Alexis Mateo all the best. I think the reason why I have her where I do in the ranking technically is because at this point she's only made one finale, whereas our final U.S. queen here, I mean her track record speaks for itself. If she doesn't injure her knee, she makes it to a finale. So we found her. It's Eureka representing Los Angeles, California by way of Tennessee. As we've kind of noted earlier in the podcast here, she did injure her knee, was I think the first queen to ever be like medically evacuated from a season, or as they say, departed a season. She came back immediately the next season, and in that season when she came back here, it felt like there was a lot of pressure on her, at least initially here. And she initially bottomed in the episode 2 from Rusical Acting Challenge, which was honestly really bad. It's like one of my least favorite
Ooh,
musicals. Possibly my least favorite. I don't know. I think I need to do that musical ranking at some point here, but there's too many to kind of think of off the top of my head. But I do remember how bad that shit was. But it seemed like after she had her lip sync, she got out of her head. She would go on to shine for pretty much the rest of the season, including winning the Bossy Rossi Improv Challenge, the DragCon panel, and despite a slight slip up in the Breastworld Acting Challenge, which, to be fair, another fucking terrible acting challenge, by the way. Her lip sync versus Cameron Michaels would lead to the season's first double Shantae, and possibly one of the best lip syncs up there. Like, I wouldn't say like 10, but like 20, top 30. I don't know. It's good. It's a good one. Um, and eventually, she would finish the finale tied for second and third with Cameron, losing to eventual winner Aquaria, who was notoriously saved from elimination in her lip sync face off with Eureka, so she could win the season against Eureka. Because, as you said there, she did not have the best fan reception in that season. So it was kind of clear that they wanted other options to choose from. They were not going to crown Cameron. Asia killed butterflies, so Aquaria was the obvious option to make sure that I mean that she had to be there. She had to win. There's
yeah,
no other choice at that point.
I was sad
Eureka's
about that.
return, though, just for the butterflies. Speaking of Asia, when will we see you again? I need to, justice for Asia. I know you don't like Asia here as much as I do, but I love
Yeah,
Asia here. I want her back. Anyway, get back to Eureka. So she did return again in All Stars 6. And she became, it was actually a really good run. She had 6 high placements, which is insane. But she was never able to initially get a win during her run until she was eliminated. Came back after winning the Lip Sync Redemption SmackDown, ending Silky's streak, and getting a win in the Charisma, Uniqueness, Nerve, and Talent Monologues Challenge, and then she would ultimately place second, third, or fourth. We don't know. Second through fourth. That's a
it was
placement.
three.
Leave like
It
that.
was third and fourth. Let's be
Leave like
real.
that.
Don't
Yeah.
on it. I saw the lip syncs. You saw the lip syncs. We all saw the lip syncs. We know.
Okay, we'll say third, fourth. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, in a lot of ways, in not pun intended here, Eureka could possibly be the biggest competition here if she enters this with the right mindset. She's talented in a lot of areas and is even strong enough, and I think in her weaker areas, to outdo some people at their best. She said it when she said her biggest strength is her perseverance and her strength to push through. And I know that, at this point here, she has transitioned into her final form, so she's likely probably at her most confident. But as we've kind of seen, and especially over the last couple of weeks, and I've done my best to kind of avoid talking about this on my channel here because I didn't really want to get into the specifics of it because it's not the greatest thing to kind of get into here. But her greatest competition is going to be herself. The self sabotage is real. The inner saboteur is real. Calling from inside the house. Um, and the thing here is she ended All Stars 9 on such a great note, I feel like, but all of this recent drama that came up with Kim Chi just really goes to show that all of her old habits die hard. And I don't want to get into too much of the drama because it's not to me to discuss the bathing and hygiene habits of a grown adult. Like, I don't want to. But let's just hope that Eureka has learned from this whole situation. And I don't want to hear anything about any open sores of pus being held together with duct tape, allegedly. Um, as far as the promo look goes, and I forgot to mention on Alexis is here, just to kind of go back to that really quick. Alexis was the middle look. I hated the fur on it, and everything else was just basic.
Oh,
Anyway, um, I, I like the idea of the muscle suit. I really do. I love the idea of doing the muscle suit. Like when Milk did it in All Stars 3, I enjoyed it. It was a fun take. It was unexpected, and I fully expected someone to do it in this category. Dare I say that out of all the interpretations that we've seen, because another queen decided to take the interpretation on this season too, this is my least favorite of the three. It feels easily the least polished out of all of those that have tried this look, and while it's still better than I think a couple of the bodysuits, I like it better than Cheryl's, and I like it better than whatever Kahena is wearing. Um, I, there's something about this that it just doesn't feel elevated from Eureka for this being her fourth time here. There's something about the fit of it. I don't like. It's like the more I look at it, the more I don't really like it. Like I don't. I'm sorry. It's nothing to do with the size of her being the size, by the way. Um, because she looks proportionate. She looks good. I just don't like the. It's just too basic. It's literally just it's bathing suit. Like I there's no outfit there. There's no outfit. Hair looks good though. I like the hair, and she's beat. So I know she's gonna bring a lot better looks here. Um, but as far as this goes here, I'm not a fan. I'm not really a fan here. Jack, I know you have words for Eureka, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let you say all the things and verbalize things in ways that are better than I could.
okay. Okay. Eureka is an
Okay.
interesting
Okay.
choice. Oh, what?
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Eureka is an
Breathe.
interesting
Okay.
choice for a queen because this is her fourth time, and it doesn't feel like she's been gone that long for her to be coming back already. She has shown some growth between her first couple seasons and her All Stars. I'm not sure what we're gonna all see from her here that we haven't seen already. It kind honestly, all of the UK or not UK, sorry, all of the US girls kind of feel that way to me. Where I think all of them, I'm kind of concerned as to what I'm going to see that's different. I've mentioned it on other podcasts where Vanjie kind of does her Vanjie thing. Eureka's kind of known for the same thing. She kind of does her loud impressions, and she's very fun, and she can be very funny. But I'm not sure if there's much that like I think she's gonna be able to bring, and I could be proven wrong. And again, I love when girls prove me wrong. But there is a lot of controversy. She kind of seemed, I don't know if this was purposely done, but when she did the promo and she said, "Do you smell what I'm cooking?" or whatever, to be like, "You smell the rocks cooking," kind of referencing the kimchi drama. I was like, that's kind of smart in a way because it's kind of twisting it for a good thing for you. But I just hope Eureka, she's found the shower. She found it. Maybe she can turn on the faucet and use some soap. Maybe she'll find that as well, and hopefully a washcloth, or if we're really lucky, she'll use an African net sponge. But I mean, let's just hope for the washcloth first and the soap. But as far as this look, I love the big titted idea with the concept of like, skinny, like kind of leotard, muscle bound look. It doesn't. There are just spots where it doesn't fit correctly, and that's like the real issue. Supposedly, there's also some drama that she didn't pay for a couple of her looks that was like coming through for this season, so there was a lot of drama about her. Um, and supposedly there was drama about like where she ends up in her placement, but I won't bring that up. I just think that it's interesting that so much drama happened with her before the season even started, or was actually even before it was announced that she was on the season. It was like a spoiler kind of thing that someone posted. A designer said she didn't pay for two of the outfits, and there was some more drama with it. But again, a long list of controversies that Eureka has been involved in. I don't know. I don't think she has a good chance of winning this season. I don't think she has a good chance of going past maybe halfway through the season, honestly. You would think with her track record, she would have one of the best chances. And I would think that too. But I do think, unfortunately, that Eureka might not be able to get past um, like a bad challenge here or there. And, you know, Eureka has had some really good placements in her run on All Stars, in her run on her original seasons. She's done extremely well, but I just don't think that based on this promo look and the rumors coming out about her uh what controversies, that I don't know if we see a good chance of her being wanting to be pushed by production to be a winner of the season, right? So I think there's a very low possibility of her being a winner of the season.
I see that. I definitely agree. That's why I said I her biggest enemy will be herself. Like on paper, as my script is here, Eureka should have the best chance. But will she? We'll find out.
No, this outfit is just,
Not after
it's
this
actually,
outfit, we won't.
this outfit is probably my least favorite of the outfits. Let me tell you something. I'm going to be honest with you. This is
Yes.
still a middle outfit for me because I just don't think it's like the worst. The fitting's not great, but I don't think it's the worst outfit, which I don't know. Maybe the color scheme really blends itself to this like Hulk Hogan kind of idea, and so I see the inspiration, and I think the concept was really good. The execution not so great, but then again, a lot of the girls I don't think executed well in this outfit, so we can just move on.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Let's go ahead and move on here. We'll see here if we're right about Miss Eureka here in a couple weeks when everything debuts. But let's go ahead and get to our final three queens of the night, our three queens from our host country, who are more than likely to take home the crown. And let's start out with the girl who probably has the least chance out of the three that I'm thinking here. Just because I feel like out of them we probably know them the least. Um, and that is Tynomi Banks, ninth place from Canada Season 1. She's representing Toronto with her Jamaican heritage. She considers herself a performer, period. But unfortunately, she didn't have the best performance on her original season, as she was safe for the first episode's design challenge with her Lumberjanes look, and then was in the bottom for 3 episodes in a row. Apparently, she cannot act, she cannot do girl groups, and she cannot. Oh, oh wait, no. The second challenge was also a design challenge, so she cannot design apparently either. Um, however, according to her Meet the Queens video, Tynomi Banks is dead. She's a whole new queen, a non-padded glamazon who dances, sings, and she promises she's funny. So everything she's bad at in the first season, she promises that she's good at now. And much like her preseason press last time, she was giving me all the personality in her preview video, and I gotta say, I do love this look much more compared to Eureka's version of it. This might be my third favorite look of the night. While the actual, outfit is literally just, a bikini. That's not where I think anything stems from here. I mean, this fact that you have a little like is there crystals here? Is that just the fabric? I don't know. But the muscle suit is hilarious. I love it. I love the fact that it's like a dark chocolate color, like browns, like a shiny bronze. It's really looks good. Her face is beat. I love the hair. I love everything about this look. Honestly, um, it's giving me for the three that have done like this muscle suit. I think this is my favorite interpretation of it. And who knows here, what we're gonna get from Tynomi though, when it comes down at the end of the day. Um, I'd love for nothing more for Tynomi to get the redemption arc that she needs after her first season. And she was actually one of my initial favorites after the premiere, and to see the tragedy unfold after that was just kind of unfortunate. She also could just be one of those queens whose skills just don't translate to the drag race stage, though. So I hope Tainomi is really here to fight for this, like she says she is. And if she is, then she could be one of the queens that I'm really rooting for this season. What are your thoughts here on Miss Tainomi Banks?
So I really like Tynomi's outfit actually. I think it's really great. I think it looks good. She's clearly the better of the two muscle men suits. I think a simple color combo here is really efficient. I think it's really effective. I think simple clothing on top of it is really funny. It's really fun. I really like this. Especially from Tainomi. It would be criminal of me not to bring this up since I've brought up other people's fashion. Tainomi's fashion was one of the worst things I'd ever seen in a drag race season in my life. And that was on her original season. I'm really not trying to be mean, but if you go back to her to her package that she brought, I I think I decided on her Quebecy with the good hair outfit being her worst. But her best look for me was the promo look, and I was struggling so hard to pick something that wasn't making me want to like light it on fire. Like I was really trying. The only other good thing that I thought she wore on the runway, in my opinion, was the paper design challenge that she had, and I kind of didn't think she should have been in the bottom for it, if I'm being real. But my opinions are a little different than other people's, so fair enough. She has a lot to prove, though. Tainomi has a lot to prove because she was really well known before the show, and then her performance on the show, very rough. Very rough. She like never really placed high. She just didn't really, she didn't really show out much. Like everyone was like, "Oh, Tainomi is strong. She's gonna be so good in this competition." Like, "Oh my God, I can't even believe like what's gonna happen." Blah blah blah. Even the first design challenge of the season where she was safe, which was the only week she wasn't in the bottom two, by the way. I don't even know if I would have. Let's. Safe. Yes, it was a safe look, but not because her look was safe, but because everyone else's look was so bad. Truly was one of those.
It was a
I think
season one, episode one challenge. It showed.
it showed. It showed very hard. And you know what? Here's the real tea about that too. She did not. She did not perform well. She has a lot to like prove. I think a lot of her problems also stem from her inner saboteur. I think she wasn't giving herself enough credit. She clearly wasn't giving herself enough time or focus on getting her looks together for the competition. Um, not that the runway is like the biggest factor ever, but God, I really hope that she shows us great style. I hope we see her personality because she actually has a really good personality, and I think she's very charismatic. I just don't think it translated into Drag Race the first time for her, and it was really kind of sad to see her go through that because I think she really was trying. I think she really just put so much pressure on herself. So I'm hoping that she's going to show up and show out now and we'll really get to see the real Tynomi Banks. And I hope that, um, I really hope that, honestly, I hope she makes it to the finale. And I wouldn't be mad if she was possibly a winner or like our third, fourth place girl. Like, I don't mind that at all. And I actually don't think she has the least likely chance of winning. As much as that sounds, I have an idea in my head that one of the queens who should have a really good chance of winning this season is going to randomly get booted early on. But we'll get to that.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's in the cards here for Miss Tainomi Banks. I agree. I kind of wish her the best. I hope hopefully she gets out of her head. And in a lot of ways, honestly, she kind of reminds me of like Mayhem Miller. I'm just hoping she doesn't like to continue on the same route Mayhem did, being kind of meh. Anyway, let's go on to our next Canadian queen here. And according to her, she was a bitch. And now she's an even bigger bitch. Stealing from Kahana Montrese. And representing Toronto by way of her backgrounds of Cayford and Romania. It's Miss Fiercalicious, our third slash fourth placer from Canada Season 3 and Traders Canada. Um, now, Fierce is a really fun addition to this cast for her overdramatic personality, snatched mug, and stunning looks. Now, Fierce had a really fun arc in her season, as she started out initially as the villain, placing low in the design challenge despite her being a fashion queen. Fierce immediately rebounded in the next episode's stand-up challenge, but ultimately lost the challenge to her immediate rival and scene partner, Kimmy Couture. Now, her performance in the Rouette's lip sync challenge would land her in the bottom two, but ultimately she would win against Shelley LaRue. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Shelazon LaRue. Sorry, been a hot second since I've seen season 3. And some of those early boots, totally forgot. Sorry. Fierce's redemption arc would then begin as learning after some of the critiques she had here. She would make a late game run for the crown, winning the makeup commercial challenge and the masquerade ball as well. Despite being tied for the strongest track record, although to be fair, the season's queens were really even. I think Giselle Allby had 2 wins, one bottom, as well as just like Fierce did, and then Kimmy and Shada Hudson both had 1 win, 2 bottoms. She would eventually be eliminated in the finale before that final lip sync in third, fourth place, which kind of agree. I think they picked the right. Maybe, nah, I don't know. I'm still kind of justice for Kimmy. I would have picked Kimmy Jaina for my top two. But Giselle, deserving winner. Another podcast there. Anyways, this is all about Miss Fiercelicious, and she's saying this time in her competition here, it's gonna be a little different because last time she was, and I quote, up against some dumpy looking queens on her season, but this time she's up against dumpy looking queens from all over the world. End quote. So I think Fierce is gonna bring the drama and the shade, and if this promo look is anything to judge by, the fashion in the mug too, absolutely. She looks so good in this look. I love this look. Even though the middle part is just a bodysuit, I mean, like they're all mostly just wearing bodysuits here, so at this point, whatever. I'm just a super big fan of these super long sleeves. They're also part of her train, I think. It's just all just a very beautiful promo look, and I don't think any of the other girls went like the fashionable route. So this also makes Fierce stand out amongst her rivals in that aspect. Dare I say Fierce could be the season's fashion queen? I have her second of the Canadian girls though, because while she did make the finale, I'm just not sure if Fierce has been off the show long enough to really allow her drag to evolve in ways outside of just pretty and just fashion, especially against the caliber of queens who have been on multiple seasons. So while I expect to see Fierce make a deep run, there's also potential she could just stick her foot in her mouth and then fall on her face episode 1. So I reserve the right to change my mind later. What are your thoughts here of Miss Fiercelicious here, Jack?
So Miss Fiercalicious has one of the best fashion packages of the queens coming back. And I will say that part of that is due to her being on a more recent season. As we see, as seasons go on, girls generally get better. Like there's more effort put in my opinion, because the caliber of drag is better generally as we go on in seasons, and you have to really keep that in mind when you come to the show, right? Like, I'm not saying that a girl from season 1 can't have better fashion, but Miss Fiercelicious, I remember her promo look being meh for me in her first time. This Canada versus the World promo look is sickening. She has on her braids again, which are very reminiscent of her first look because she had the braids in her promo look. It just her first promo look was not for Canada's season 3 wasn't anything for me. I actually thought it was devaluing her beauty. I thought she was prettier than what she was showing. Um, I like that she's staying true to who she is. You know, she's like, I'm a bitch, but now I'm a bigger bitch. And I was like, okay, great, perfect. Like, Love that. I think there's a way to really embrace your brand, and um she doesn't necessarily need to reinvent herself. She just needs to do the best. Now, oddly enough, she is the queen that I could see getting cut early on, that I think we all think could make it to the final and possibly win. And the reason I say this is because if some of the queens see big competition, they might choose to put her in the bottom two against someone else who's big competition and save someone else who they thought maybe has a less likely chance of winning the season overall. I'm not sure who all in this season could beat her in a lip sync, because lip sync styles vary heavily depending on the song and who is judging. And, there are some of these queens that are really good at these like older kind of style drag lip syncs. There are girls who maybe aren't the best known for their lip syncs, but there are some performers in this cast that could really show up and show out. So if Miss Fiercalicious is too cocky, she could get herself eliminated randomly because, you know, some people really didn't like her personality at all on her original season. And that could end up being a big deterrent for her on a season where the girls kind of decide who's in the bottom, too.
Absolutely. There's definitely a lot of different ways things could kind of go down when it comes to kind of their interactions with the girls. And I do agree. I think Fierce could be perhaps the most vulnerable to the social game when it comes to or the strategic game as well too. So I that's what I kind of said too. I reserve the right to change my mind on her if things go south later on here. So excited to see her though. Very excited to see her. I think regardless how long she's going to be here, she's going to give us some very fun TV. So um, that is Miss Fiercalicious. But let's go ahead and at this point here, that leaves us with our final queen, and she's back again, bitch, here to save the Canadian reputation on this show, and is the star who I think has the best chance at becoming the next queen of the mother tucking world. It's Lemon. Who else would it be here? Fifth place from Canada Season 1, ninth place UK versus the
Rigged.
World 1, also representing Toronto, Canada.
Rigged.
It's totally rigged, and I'm totally fine with it. Because to be honest, I fully expect to see if anybody's going to be pushed by production, it will be Lemon, and I am totally fine with that. I have no qualms by saying that here. As far as I'm concerned here, though, if there's anybody that can, I think, really earn their record here and not just have I guess that asterisk that Tia Coffee has next to their name, I do think it literally is Lemon. Lemon is by far my one of my favorite Canadian queens of all time, easily my favorite queen from season one. And again, this all-around performer considers herself a comedian, dancer, a raptress, saying she's come about to come through this competition to deliver a performance that will have people saying "Lemon 5, 6, 7, 8" that shit up. What are all these catchphrases that she's coming up with this Meet the Queens video, by the way, too? Um, She's clearly very confident, and like I said, rightly so, because I think Lemon has been through quite the journey during her time on Drag Race, with it all beginning as part of the stacked season one cast, and a decision that left me pretty sour personally. Lemon bottomed in the premiere, did her O Canada Design Challenge with her jock straps look, but would immediately redeem herself with a win in episode two's her etage moments. Her Jojo Siwa would earn her high praise in the Snatch game, which is still hilarious. And if only JoJo had rebranded last year, we could have had Lemon do Karma as a bitch on the show, and I would have been so happy for that updated their JoJo Siwa for Snatch Game. But okay, maybe in All Winners, we'll look forward to All Winners too. If she gets the chance to get through it there. Now, Lemon would score one last win as Miss Fitz in the Miss Loose Jaw Pageant Improv Challenge, but would be rudely eliminated against Rita Baga in the Rainbow Railroad Makeover Challenge in their attempt to say Lemon is just not a design queen. Now, this fifth place finish helped propel them into great heights, allowing her to become part of the inaugural cast for the first International All Stars competition, otherwise known as UK vs. the World 1. But once again, Lemon would be rudely rigged against and be thrown to the bottom in the premiere with her original song talent show performance, all because she jumped off of a box. So they tried to say her performance was unoriginal because somebody else jumped off of a box in their performance. They also used her bad take, apparently, which I don't even think it was that bad, and they used it to justify their poor critiquing of her, so whatever. Pangea Heels 2 was also on a tear to play the most strategic game of all time, and I think removed Lemon from the competition week one, knowing what a threat Lemon was. Um, but I do think this season, Lemon is really back with a vengeance, and she's giving me the most passion behind her trash talking in the promo video that I'm here to back it up, and I feel it. Also, without a doubt, Lemon is giving me my favorite promo look of them all. I love this face kini. Love it. Love it. Love it. It's just done so right. I love the pigtails that pop out of it. The makeup looks great. It's just the proportions of the outfit look really good. I know it's just a bodysuit again, but it's simple and done right. And she didn't go for too much extravagance as far as everything goes here. It's a wrestling look. It's giving wrestling, and it's snatched. I love it. I love the boots too. The boots look so good with the look. And I love the two different tones of yellow that she went for here. I'm glad that she didn't again try to overdo it with like some of the other girls did and put too much into it. I felt like it's simple, it's easy, and it's giving me lucha libre, but make it drag in the best way possible. As far as I'm concerned, deserves redemption, and I am completely fine if they rig the entire season, give her a much deserved crown, and then she can release another bitch track with Priyanka. Would love it. Jack, what are your thoughts here on Miss Lemon, our final queen of the night?
Um, when you see her ass in this, she charges credit. Your dad drops sex on this, don't forget it. And he's trying to find her pussy pics up on Reddit. So, as she said, and as it should be repeated, Lemon is coming through. Lemon is that bitch. You let Priyanka, have 2020, but now it's 2024. This is her year. I think that after her disgusting elimination from UK versus the World one, haha, Pangina, get your karma for getting eliminated. Thank you, Blue Hydrangea, for that. She, you know, she stands the best chance to win this. She's from the first season of Canada. She has the talent. She has a great fan base. She, I, I mean, is there anything she doesn't have? She has fashion. Maybe not all of her outfits have ever been great, but we've seen a lot from her over the years, and we've seen a lot of. There were pics of some of her unused looks from her very, very, very short season on uh, Canada, or sorry, UK versus the world, and nothing she did looked bad. Everything she did looked very cute. It looked fun. She's still herself. She has a lot of confidence. She has a lot of sass. Her personality is fun. She's festive. I love everything that she really stands for. There was no reason she should have been in the bottom two in the first episode, and even if she was, to say that she did something less original than Janie Jacquet is a goddamn lie. And Janie Jacquet clearly deserved to go home that episode. So I'm glad Lemon's getting another chance to come back for what is essentially an all-star season for her. I'm excited to see what she comes to bring this time. She has a lot of great ideas. I think her drag was at a great place for UK versus the world, but I can only imagine it's gotten better now. And Lemon is a fierce queen, and she is not to be, underappreciated anymore. I don't think that in this season with Brooklyn, I think she's going to be given a fair shot this time. I think the girls do know that she might be kind of dangerous, but at the same time, a lot of the queens do like to keep girls that they think are competition and deserve to be there because nothing feels worse than having a top group of queens where everyone in the top is literally someone who shouldn't have been there or someone who just skated by the competition. Lemon has one of the best promo looks by far. I think the thing that puts it above Fiercalicious for me, especially, is the fact that I think though Fiercalicious did hit the mark on this look being amazing, I didn't get the wrestler theme from it, whereas Lemon is once again back in her yellow color. She's stunning. She's always got her unique brand. She stands on it. It's a very important thing to for a drag queen to be able to do. I think the only thing that Lemon is missing, honestly, is the crown. She is my number one pick for the win. I would love to see a season. I'm not saying it needs to be thrown to her because I don't think it needs to be. I think with fair judging, she still makes it to the end. If I had to guess, Lemon wins two challenges, places once in the bottom two, redeems herself the episode right after that, and places high throughout most of the season, if not safe once or twice. That would be my prediction on Lemon's performance. I think that she's going to ultimately lip sync for the crown at the top two, and I think she's going to win. That I'm not. I
Mm.
hope that's what happens. I can't guarantee it, but I sure do hope.
So it looks like this is going to about to be a Lemon Stan podcast for the season, I think. Because
Yeah,
I'm right
it
there with
is.
you. I would be so happy to see Lemon take this crown. It would just feel so right. If anybody is coming back to take this crown here, I feel like Lemon has the best story, the best chance, and just it just feels right. Like I agree with her in the Meet the Queens video. It just feels like this is just the right time for Lemon's victory here. I mean, we had Nymphia win, just own yellow in the U.S., so we need to probably turn Canada yellow and have Lemon win. So who knows how this will actually shake out here? I'm very actually now that we've kind of gone through the cast here. I'm very excited just to kind of see what happens here. I mean, it's going to be a very short season, 6 episodes. And at the end of the day here, I mean, a month and a half it will be gone. So what really would it matter if it's a hot piece of trash? But if I did enjoy Canada versus the World One. I generally enjoy Canada's Drag Race, so I do think this will be a good season. So I'm very excited and looking forward to this, and hopefully get some of that drama, some messy drama. Because after like All Star 16, or sorry, All Star 16. After Drag Race season 16, All Stars 9 has been leaving me just needing something. And if the promos or anything to talk about here, Fierce will hopefully be bringing that for us, and so will the rest of the girls. So, Jack, do you have any final words to say as we get ready to get look forward to the premiere in 2 weeks here?
The first thing is I hope that the queens are provided soap and deodorant in their hotel
Agreed.
stays. I also hope that the queens are given a fair shot. I would love to see an episode of two of no one getting eliminated potentially as a start because, to come back to one of these seasons, it is costly to these girls. It obviously helps boost their pay grade and what they can earn in their for the publicity, but it's a lot of time to be taken out and a lot of expenses for them. So I'm really hoping that at least every girl gets the chance to, really show what they brought to some extent and not just get a first episode boot if we can prevent it. Again, it's kind of a lemon stan season, but I stan LaPhil for the most part too. Like, I wouldn't be mad if that was my final two prediction. Like, that'd be great for me. I would love that personally. But I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of great queens on this season, and only so much filler in everyone's face.
Oh, why are you talking about me like that, Jack? So rude. Ugh, didn't even
You
know you
did
could
say
see my
that.
filler.
Oh,
Ugh.
okay.
So rude. Well, you know what? We are getting close to the 2 hour mark, so I think it's probably a good chance to call it here. Again, a very interesting cast, very exciting format change. That is definitely needed here, and we'll kind of see how Canada versus the World Two plays out here. If it's really truly the next greatest season, or if our instincts of it just being Toronto versus North America versus Europe ends up being true and it kind of falls flat. Either way, here we will be here to cover it every step of the way. So, if you made it all the way to the end of this podcast, as always, thank you so much for your support. Appreciate y'all being here. And make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content as we will be releasing podcasts starting the premiere in 2 weeks on July 19th. We'll probably have it out that Saturday. Also, comment below on who you think has the best chances. Let's get some discussion going and let's keep spilling that tea, y'all. Until next time, on behalf of Jack, I am a renegade. Y'all take it easy and I'll see y'all again soon. Bye.
Goodbye, drag queens.